We have Dr. David Shearer, who is the clinical psychologist with the military. Um, Let me just give you a full introduction, David. Um, he's, uh, he's a clinical and prescribing psychologist with the Department of the Army of Madigan Army Medical Center in the state of Washington. He serves as a core faculty member and director of behavioral sciences at the Madigan Army Medical Center's Family Medicine Residency. Dave is the president of our APA Division 55, the Society of Prescribing Psychology, and is leading the movement for prescriptive authority in the state of Washington. Dave is joined with us tonight, which is just really exciting, by Anna Nepomuceno, the Director of Public Policy and Advocacy for NAMI, Washington State. And Andy, and so you know Anna, Andy and Anna have worked together.
We are great friends.
Over the years. That's just fantastic. Ms. Nepomuceno is currently working as a legislative assistant at the Washington State Capitol with a strong background in advocacy and policy work. She's been an eloquent advocate for psychologists and prescriptive authority in Washington. And Dave and Anna will talk about the partnership that they have forged in working for their prescriptive authority legislation in Washington. I just want to say, for those of you who don't know our history, I mean, this is just a spectacular moment that psychologists are now being so closely bonded with NAMI, and that we see that we have so much in common. The populations that we work with, the access that we want to give, the equity that we want to provide, and that the fact that we can now do that across the country is really very exciting.
Great. Well, thank you, Beth. It is great to be here with all of you. I recognize loads of names. Some people I've met and some I haven't. So greetings to all of you. Beth asked me to talk about the Washington State effort. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a brief on that and tell you where we're at. So we've really only been working on this for about the past 6 years. And in that time, we've now introduced this bill twice. So I feel like when I say 6 years, I mean, 6 years ago, I was like, maybe we should do this. So we've come a long way in 6 years. We introduced the bill in 2022, and it did not get a hearing, but we weren't shocked by that because no-scope bills got a hearing in 2022 because we were sort of on the edge of the pandemic, if you remember that, and whatever normal is. And so, but it was a great opportunity for our bill to get some airtime and for us to start having some conversations about this thing that a lot of people hadn't heard about before, which was prescribing psychology, which put us in a wonderful position to drop the bill this year. So this year, we have a new sponsor, Representative Jessica Bateman, who is just an outstanding advocate for behavioral health in our state. And that bill was introduced early in December and went to the House Healthcare and Wellness Committee. In December, there was a joint press release from WSPA, Washington State Psychological Association, and drumroll please, Washington NAMI. And I will tell you that the crown jewel of our efforts of this 6 years, I think the most important, one of the most amazing things that has happened is this relationship that we have developed with Washington NAMI, this partnership, with the grassroots advocacy group that is working exactly with the people that we want to serve. And so very powerful, very important. I won't say a lot more about that because Anna Nepomuceno is going to be here talking to you in just a few minutes about that, but very important to us. We moved relatively rapidly to get an early hearing in the House Healthcare and Wellness Committee, which our lobbyists worked hard to get. Getting an early hearing, as many of you know, is a good thing. That gives us more time to work the bill after the hearing. I would say that there's a lot of positive developments that have happened. I'm going to share a little bit of the broad support that we are getting to give you a sample of the type of not just support, but sort of the broad level of support that we're getting across the state from other folks. But two things that really stand out as very exciting to me. One is Dr. Steve Curtis, who's on with us today, is a colleague of mine in Washington State and also a prescribing psychologist. And Steve is a Antioch University professor, and he is standing up an MSCP program at Antioch. And we hope to have that online with the next year. And that is a terrific talking point for us, for our legislators, to say that we can be educating our own in our state. The other thing that I want to tell you that is tremendously important and very exciting to us, if you were following the Washington bill carefully, you would know that back in 2020, before we introduced the bill, we had to submit a sunrise review to the Department of Health. So they take a look at our bill and they evaluate it. After a year of looking at that, we were very disappointed that they came back with a not recommend. Now, they didn't kill our bill, but that was very frustrating to us. But rather than despair, we basically just kind of put our boots on and waded in, and we decided to use that report as a roadmap to strengthen our bill. And what I want to share with you, which is amazing, is we went from a not recommend with the Department of Health. And when Anna, who's going to be joining us from NAMI in a few minutes, and I went to go testify on January 13th, just a few weeks ago at the legislature, not only did the Department of Health remove their not recommend and move to a recommend, they didn't stay neutral. They, in fact, supported us. And Shauna Fox, who is the one of the directors for the Department of Health, came and testified in person in support of our bill. So that turnaround was absolutely amazing and very important for us. The other folks that were there, I mentioned that Anna was there. Other folks that came, the medical director and behavioral health medical director of the Washington Healthcare Authority, who was a very important key opinion leader in our state, was there and supportive of us and testified in support, as did the Washington Patient Safety Coalition. We had a physician, a family care doc, who is a colleague of mine. I presented as well. We have a myriad of other supporters across the board, but I will mention one person in particular who Dr. Ramrama will recognize. Her name is Elizabeth Hovda. She is she's a director for the Centers for Worker Rights and Healthcare for the Washington Policy Center, which is a right-leaning think tank in Washington state. And Elizabeth, I got in contact with her because she had gone to a presentation that Dr. Romreimer and colleagues had in Louisiana, and she became a big advocate and very interested in prescribing psychology and wanting to see it happen in Washington state. She has written an article. She has gone in and talked directly with representatives on the committee and is really backing us. So amongst the other, there's many other things to share. But in the interest of time, I'll stop talking about the support right there. But we have a broad support. It's wonderful. The opposition is the same as it always is. It's the AMA, the American Psychiatric Association. I can tell you that as far as I can tell, they have not changed the letter that they have been sending to committees over the last 5 to 10 years, because it says all the same things, and some of them are demonstrably false and not true. And actually, it just makes our job easier. So where we're really at with our this committee, with the Healthcare and Wellness Committee, is their biggest concern is the training adequate to train psychologists to prescribe? And so we are very busy right now providing them with information that supports the fact that, in fact, yes, it is that we've been doing this for decades safely and that we continue to do so. So we are expecting to get a vote, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, and we are very hopeful that we can get this bill out of committee and moving forward. So I will share that with all of you online to let you know what happens as it happens. But with that, I will thank you for your time, and it's great to see you all. And thanks for a moment to talk about Washington, Beth.
And Anna is coming online.
Hi, my name is Anna Nepomuceno. I am the Public Policy Director for NAMI Washington, and this is actually my first session. I just got started with NAMI Washington in July, so this will be my first session advocating for NAMI. I'm very excited to be advocating for the prescribing psychologist bill, and really NAMI's interest in prescribing psychologists really started from consumer feedback. We were just hearing all sorts of stories from our members and from their families and from the general public that access to prescribers was almost non-existent And if you go east of the mountains where it's more rural, it's non-existent at all. And right now, half of the counties in Washington state have no psychiatrists working there. And so I find it really interesting because the psychiatrists are telling everyone that there's no access issue when there is. And again, some of the stories that I'm hearing from some of our constituents, we have mothers who are having difficult times finding medication and finding prescribers for their children. A lot of psychiatrists don't feel comfortable prescribing to children. A lot of people are getting the runaround. Some people, we have one member right now who is on an 8-month wait to see a prescriber. And so the need is very real. And so this is why we really believe in the efficacy of allowing psychologists to prescribe medication. And some of the feedback that we also get from our members, especially a lot of our members of color, have shared with us that it's difficult enough for them to find a therapist that they feel comfortable with, someone that can relate to their struggles. And when they do, they don't want to have to find a second person to prescribe. And especially especially someone who has had traumatic experiences as a person of color, they don't necessarily want a white psychiatrist. And so this is really a great opportunity to really expand access and expand equity in our state. And our members are very, very happy about this bill. They're very supportive. We do have some, I have to admit, we do have some members that are psychiatrists that called us and yelled at us. But in general, the support with the NAMI community is very strong. And as far as like legislative updates, I can tell you that the new chair of the House Healthcare and Wellness, he's a bit more progressive. And during the hearing, I think about 40 psychiatrists signed up to testify. And I think he let 4 of them testify. So it's promising. And they realize, I mean, he realizes, and I think a lot of the other members are realizing that the psychiatrists, their arguments really don't hold any weight, especially they keep talking about the Sunrise Review. And even though this bill covers that, they're basically giving misinformation about access when we have the numbers right in front of us. Half of our counties have no psychiatrist. So again, I think that's really where the grassroots advocacy gains its strength, is through personal stories and lived experiences of people that are suffering from mental illnesses and people that have family members that have mental illness that cannot find medication. And so we're really hoping that this bill comes through in this session. And then if it doesn't, we'll just continue to try again, because a lot of our members really want this legislation to pass. Like, I have people calling me almost every day saying, Anna, where's this bill at? I really, really want this bill to pass. Is there anything I could do, anything more I can do to help advocate for it? So it's really, it's really driven a lot of passion and a lot of advocacy within our members.
Thank you, Anna, so much. I talk often about that prescribing psychology is a revolution in healthcare. Well, I think we're seeing this palpably. To hear you speak, to hear Andy Wade speak, and to talk about the community partnerships that we have developed across the country. This is the revolution, and it's coming to every community. And I'm certainly, we're all hoping that you can pass your legislation this year and have the kind of success that we're having here in Illinois.